Despite Brexit, Britain is still dealing with the mess the European Union created with open borders. This talk of us striking some kind of returns agreement with the EU is absolute rubbish. It's never going to happen. It's complete fantasy. The whole time we're in the EU, there were rules in place that were supposed to mean that people stayed in the first safe country that they arrived in. That obviously didn't happen. The idea that we could get help from the EU now to deal with the Channel migrant crisis is not even on the table. But for the first time, we are starting to see even the most ardent Europhiles waking up to the fact that they have created a complete and utter monster here, and that there are huge problems associated with mass, uncontrolled, illegal and legal immigration. A little earlier on, I spoke to the deputy leader of the Rejoin the EU party, Richard Morley, from Berlin, obviously. Now, he let it slip that they are dealing with, quote, the consequences of immigration. And I thought, hang on a minute, I want to drill down on that. You said that having immigrants all around you is causing problems. What problems?
Well, it's causing economic problems. It's causing, in particular, housing problems. There isn't enough housing or doctors or schools to be able to facilitate a sudden intake of hundreds of thousands and probably millions of immigrants into a nation. The system simply can't cope with.
You do it then.
Why did who do what?
Why did the European Union let it happen? Why did the likes of Angela Merkel allow 1 million people from the Middle East just in? If it's caused all these problems that everyone was saying, this is going to be the problem, this is what's happening. And you did it. And now you're dealing with the consequences. Now you want us to go and pay to rebuild their countries to stop more people coming.
This is not something which can be so easily controlled as we can see ourselves.
Well, no, not if you've got open borders, not if you're willing to welcome everybody in and make no provisions for it. EU lovies are now, as you can see, waking up to the reality that tens of millions of people are going to try to move to Europe in the coming years. They are obviously going to try and wave as many of them as possible through to Britain. The ship has sailed, the horse has bolted, they created a vicious immigration death spiral that will forever change Europe, and they were stupid enough to let that happen. So what's the solution now? And I think this is the important bit. I will tell you what will end up happening. Britain and the EU will spend hundreds of billions of pounds worth of taxpayers' money making African and Middle Eastern countries nicer and better in a completely futile attempt to reduce the need for economic migration, which they now admit it is, by the way, economic migration. They will also say that the climate crisis is causing a lot of migration, so we'll have to pay to solve that as well. And, of course, we will also have to pay for the problem that we're already facing here. So, mark my words, the grand plan to save Europe from a problem that the European Union created will be to bankrupt Europeans in order to save the world.